Just before lunch, we had an individual approach our table where Michelle and I were sitting in a discussion about chart review. Taking a look at what is being coded for reimbursement purposes, but also questioning, what is the service that was being delivered of the quality that should be there? Is that being measured, in a fashion that it's satisfactory, it's appropriate? These kinds of questions need to be asked. How many times has a provider in our healthcare system that Native Americans receive care has been inappropriately been given? And sad to case, there's been some serious cases where this has been done wrong, and it never gets publicized, and it's never been followed up properly to be corrected. Certainly, I'm sure most of you are well aware of this in your communities that you may work with: disproportionate poverty and poor education, the socioeconomic status. If you're going to take care of yourself, keep yourself healthy, raise your health status for your population, what do you have to know about yourself? We heard about it: nutrition, exercise. Well, who knows about those things and have a direct relationship of fully understanding when all of that needs to happen, and how you yourself as an individual to improve your own health how that all is dependent upon you, individual self-responsibility. A lot of that we don't understand. Going back to the Arizona Myeloma mission, you heard that: education, awareness, advocacy. Challenges for resolution, right at the top of the list for Native populations: education and awareness. On both sides, the patient, Native American population, and also the provider side, meaning the facility staff and the people that deliver the care. Policy advocacy. House Speaker, what's her name? Polisky. When Bush said we were going back over to Iraq, and she made the announcement, or Bush made the announcement, there was consultation from both houses. Polisky came forward and says, notification is not consultation. And the Navajo tribes throughout the nation have experienced the same process from how policy, federal policy that affects their health is presented to them. They are always notified after the fact, after policy has already been enacted and is in the process of being implemented. That's not, advocacy in consultation, the process of how policy should be developed. It's always after the fact of when something has been made law, and then they find out it doesn't work, or it's being done too costly. Why, is that happening? Well, it's just one of those things we're now learning how these processes work, and you have to get in on the grassroots efforts of when the ideas are starting to form and when policy is starting to develop, and you have to partake in development of those policies before they reach the final vote. Community leaders. Community leaders definitely have to understand what health is all about, what is good health. They have to demonstrate themselves what good health is. How many of them, we talked about obesity, how many of them demonstrate that they're not obese and that they are following good nutritional habits, they exercise, they're doing the good things that will keep themselves happy, or healthy, have a prolonged life, a healthy life. We just don't see that in our leaders. So even then, our leaders need to be educated. They need to be aware of what they need to be showing their people about what good health is. And that's, again, the education process that needs to come about. And certainly by doing so, they can in turn also get to what needs to happen with the younger generation about, you know, what they need to start with early in life. I'm sad to say that my father, I'm glad to say that my father is now 97 years old. And he's still running around. My mother's 92, and they'll show up in White River, where we live. They'll show up about 10 o'clock at night, knocking on the door. You have a place, a room for us? I said, what are you doing here coming in so late? Oh, we were headed down this way, but we stopped at the casino. Well, where are you headed? Well, we're going to Tucson. Okay, well, come on in. So we bed them down. So I'm up early next morning trying to cook them breakfast early, and I'm talking maybe about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. They're trying to sneak out the door. Where are you going? Oh, Dad's got to get down to Tucson. He's on a board for land distribution. They're still running around. And my grandmother, my father's mother, lived to be 103. 99, she was still out chopping wood. I guess that means I'm doomed. But as was pointed out, you got to wake up every morning, be thankful, the blessings, and always have the ability to be joyful and to have happy thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you to both Michelle and Fred. And some of you may say, does this really have something to do with me? Well, of course it does. Not only are many of the issues and challenges being faced in the Native American population, but all of us are hearing some of the very same things for all of us. And one of the very important points that Fred just made is we do have choices. We can try to keep ourselves healthy. We can learn as much as we can, not only about our disease, about how to help ourselves, and also helping others. And part of what we feel as that we've learned and gained in our experience working with the Navajo population is that our efforts to reach out and bring information about myeloma, and that was our first thought, well, we realized that there were other cancers and that people were beginning to talk about cancer, which meant we were hearing about the whole family. And Michelle pointed out something that was very, very exciting, very poignant for us, is that the first conference we had whole families. We had the grandmother, we had the mother and father, we had the children. And what we realized is that really is, for all of us, the future. Is that we have to not only educate ourselves, but our children. We have to talk to our families about what we're dealing with and educate them. And many of you brought family, and that's wonderful. And no, there is no easy answer, and yes, there are many challenges ahead, but we're seeing so many important changes, and many of the people you met here today, many of them came from whether it was the Navajo Reservation or others, but also came from different backgrounds. And we have different cultures among us as well. We're going to conclude today, and I wanted to say thank you for all that you did by coming here, that bring back our information. There's a lot of information for you. Share with others. And I hope you learned and enjoyed and also felt that you're part of something bigger, that you're not alone. And I think for all of us, that's a very important thing. Before we have our afternoon prayer, I want to invite Dr. Kyle to come up for a minute, if he would.